As we often know here on the show, chums, with Meghan Markle, image is everything. I mean, whichever way you look at it, she always makes sure that she finds the correct lens of every camera, and the picture is about her smiling, looking engaged, and connecting.
Meghan Markle is not coming back to the United Kingdom. Not for Invictus. Not for a reconciliation. Not for any headline that gets written between now and July. And here is the part that her own PR machine does not want you to focus on. She does not need to come back. Because the list of demands that has been circulating this week is not a negotiation. It is an exit strategy. Carefully worded, perfectly timed, and designed to give her exactly the cover she needs to stay in California while Harry boards a plane alone. We have seen this pattern before. We are going to see it again. Let me show you exactly how it works. A headline circulated this week claiming that Meghan Markle has issued a significant list of conditions around any potential return to the United Kingdom, particularly around the Invictus Games in July. The story framed it as Meghan drawing a line. She will not be sidelined, she will not be ignored, she will not be treated the way she claims to have been treated at previous royal events. Now, is any of that true? Partially, yes. Meghan does not want to return to the UK. That much is not in serious dispute among people who actually have insight into the situation. The UK market has not responded to her brand the way she anticipated. The reception she receives there, from the media, from the public, from the institution itself, is not the reception she is accustomed to managing. She knows this. But here is the more important truth. This story is not really about demands at all. It is about creating a publicly acceptable reason to not show up, while making sure the blame lands somewhere other than on Meghan's own choices. Think about the construction of it. She cannot be treated as an afterthought. She cannot be placed in the background while others take center stage. She cannot be expected to attend without appropriate recognition and respect. One of those conditions, if not met to her satisfaction, becomes a justification, a reason that sounds entirely reasonable to a casual observer. And the beauty of it, from a pure PR standpoint, is that the conditions can never quite be fully met, because the person setting them controls what counts as sufficient. The Invictus calculation, let's be direct about what is actually at stake here. The Invictus Games in July matters to Harry enormously. It is, at this point, arguably the single most important thing he has left that carries genuine weight and genuine public goodwill. It was his initiative. It reflects something real about his military background and his genuine care for wounded veterans. And it is one of the very few contexts in which he can appear publicly and not be defined entirely by the Sussex drama. He needs to be there, physically, visibly, fully present. Sending a video message from California, however warmly worded, would not be enough. Not for the veterans, not for the sponsors, not for the credibility of the games themselves. Harry understands this. Meghan's calculation is different. For her, the Invictus Games in the UK presents a series of problems that have nothing to do with respect or treatment. It means sharing space, potentially the same events, the same press coverage, the same television frames, with William and Catherine. And that is a situation she has quietly but consistently avoided since the relationship between the two couples collapsed entirely. The reason is not hard to understand. Catherine, Princess of Wales, carries herself in a way that invites an inevitable comparison. She is enormously popular. She is visually striking. She is at home in that environment in a way that Meghan, despite considerable effort, never quite managed to be. Any event where both women are present becomes, in the media's hands, a competition. And Meghan knows which way that comparison has historically gone. So, the demands serve a dual purpose. They give Harry permission to go, and they give Meghan permission to stay home. The man who loves me so much. There was a phrase that emerged from Meghan's recent conversation with a well-known entrepreneur and author. A phrase that, the moment you hear it, tells you everything about the dynamic inside that marriage. That man loves me so much. Said with warmth, said with apparent pride. But read between those words, and you find something more complicated. Because in the context of everything we have seen, the card sending, the speech giving, the public positioning, the step and repeat appearances, what that phrase actually describes is leverage. Harry does what Meghan needs him to do. He shows up in her brand videos, he appears alongside her cooking content. He stands one step behind at launches and one step in front when cameras are pointing at a crowd. He sends cards to his nieces and nephews on her timeline. He speaks publicly on her behalf. And he is about to board a plane to the UK, possibly alone, because she has decided, through a carefully constructed set of public conditions, that the situation cannot meet her standards. Nobody in Harry's circle is saying this out loud, but the pattern is clear enough that it does not need to be said. Why the UK was always going to be a problem for her brand. Here is something that has received surprisingly little attention in the coverage of the Sussex commercial strategy. The United Kingdom is, by any reasonable measure, one of the most natural markets for a brand built on British royal association. The appetite for royal-adjacent content, products, and personalities in the UK is enormous. The royal gift shops do extraordinary business. Royal endorsements, even distant ones, carry real commercial weight. Meghan should, in theory, have a significant share of that market. The name recognition is unparalleled. The story is globally known. The opportunity was real. It did not happen. And it did not happen because the UK market, more than any other, has followed the detail of this story closely enough to form strong views. The reception to her products, her shows, and her public positioning in the UK has been notably cooler than in the United States or Australia. And without a proper commercial infrastructure, a CEO, a sales team, people who understand the market and know how to navigate it, the opportunity slipped by. This matters because it explains something about the demand story. Meghan is not just avoiding the emotional discomfort of a difficult return. She is avoiding a market that has not responded to her and framing that avoidance as a principled stand. It is much easier to say I refuse to be treated as an afterthought than to say the British public has not bought what I am selling. The one thing that could change everything. Now, and this is important, there is a version of events where Meghan does make the trip. It involves a number that is significant enough to make the calculation change entirely. Because here is the consistent pattern we have seen throughout the Sussex era. The couple's presence at any event, jointly, visibly, with full media engagement, correlates very neatly with the size of the commercial opportunity attached to it. Solo Harry appearances happen on a budget. Joint appearances require considerably more. If someone opens a large enough pay packet between now and July, a broadcaster wanting exclusive access, a brand wanting the joint association, a streaming platform looking for content, the conversation about demands and conditions will quietly resolve itself. The plane will have 2 passengers instead of 1. This is not cynical speculation. It is the observed behavior of the last several years, applied forward. Money has consistently been the variable that overrides the stated principles. Watch what happens between. And now in July. If Meghan appears in the UK, you will know what changed, and it will not be the treatment she receives from the royal family, the pattern that never changes. Step back and look at the full picture, and what you see is something remarkably consistent. Meghan identifies a situation she does not want to enter. She attaches conditions to her participation, conditions that are reasonable sounding on the surface but impossible to fully satisfy in practice. Those conditions become a public story. The public story provides cover for non-attendance. Harry goes anyway, or does not go, and either way, Meghan's preferences have been served. We saw it at the coronation. We are watching it now around Invictus. The sophistication of it should not be underestimated. Each individual step looks entirely reasonable. It is only when you watch the full sequence, again and again and again, that the structure becomes visible. William sees it. The palace sees it. And increasingly, the public sees it too. The demands are real in the sense that they exist as a document or a narrative. They are not real in the sense of being a genuine negotiation. They are the mechanism through which a decision already made gets presented as someone else's fault. Harry will almost certainly be in the UK in July. Meghan almost certainly will not, and the reason, whatever reason is given publicly, will not be the real one. That is the story behind the story, the demands that are not really demands, and the exit strategy dressed up as a principled stand. Now I want your honest take on this. Do you think Harry will go to Invictus alone? And if Meghan does show up, what does that tell you about what changed behind the scenes? Drop it in the comments. I am genuinely in there, and I want to know where you land on this one. If you are watching this and you are not yet subscribed, do it now, bell icon on, because the next video is going to look at something that very few channels are tracking closely enough, and it directly connects to Harry's future in America after July. Do not miss it. See you in the next one.